Hey, this is Steve Taylor with Think HR and Insurance Services. We specialize in PEO audits and HRIS vendor selection. Today, this video, we're going to focus on Rippling, who they serve, the products they offer, and how do you actually get your service delivered from an admin perspective and also as an employee. So let's dive on in. So, who is Rippling's ideal customer profile? There's actually a couple. One would be a startup with a founding team. You can kind of see that from the different products offerings that they have. Like here it says it, 2 to 2,000 employees. So if you are a startup and you're looking to come onto a PEO, yeah, Rippling could be for you. They're a great option. If you want access to benefits, a very slick HRIS platform, additional IT services, some of the reasons to buy might be better benefits. Admin is relatively low. If you think about having to go get Section 125 and 401k and payroll and workers' comp and HSA and all the different things, right? And if you're a tech company and you're trying to hire people from, an Apple or Google or from a company that's more mid-market, somebody with a lot of experience, and you want them to come downstream with you and your vision, you may want a PEO provider so that you can offer those Fortune 500 benefits, as they like to say, right? So what about the SMBs who may have an HR professional on staff? Yeah, I mean, I think this is actually perfect for you if you are in that size category, right? Because if you're transitioning from one PEO to Rippling or on the open market to Rippling, Rippling could do the PEO for you, but they also have the HRIS system so that you don't necessarily have to just do the PEO with them. They can also be they can carve out the medical piece and they can also carve out the workers' comp potentially. Now, it depends which product you're using. And it also depends on what's going on with the underwriters. So I always invite you to say, hey, look, if you're thinking about going on a PEO, always best to just shop. Don't rely on your past experience at another startup because you never know. Each group is priced according to their risk. Now, if you're an HR person and let's just say you've got a team, you guys are quickly scaling, maybe you've got 50 plus worksite employees, right? If you're running a full HR department, again, meaning that you have roles that are outside of the HR competency of just I'm the end all be all to everyone. You have somebody who focuses on payroll, maybe somebody who focuses on talent acquisition, somebody who focuses on benefits, right? You got a real HR team, then you can still use this platform. Why? Because they've got all the HRS technology set up for you to really spend time figuring out how can we manipulate this data to make more strategic decisions. So, if I'm a 50 plus company and I have an HR person, I'm looking at offboarding some of those tasks to my internal admin of my company for payroll, for benefits, for risk, for talent. And then I would also lean on the PEO or at least Rippling to help them out with, hey, I want to design a better employee experience. Great, have them work with the Rippling team to figure that out. Some of the reasons to buy, if you're in that 50 plus range with Rippling, would be the technology platform, especially for scaling companies with lots of new hire activity. Partnering with the PEO can help you stay in compliance if you're in multiple states. If you need to figure out, hey, if I hire somebody in Michigan, what do I do? Well, this technology platform is going to go ahead and take care of you there. The other unique value add that they do have is the IT piece, which is nice. And again, like I mentioned, you can pick and choose which pieces of payroll, benefits, learning management, all that you can outsource. So, I think the other thing to note with Rippling is how do they deliver their services? Each PEO is going to be a little unique. They all say, "Oh, we all give such platinum white glove level service. We do all these different things for our clients." And sometimes that's true, sometimes that's not. With Rippling, I would say they are more of a tech forward platform. So their HRIS system allows you to integrate with other different tools. I mean, they've got a whole partners section here that's more like, hey, you can integrate with your accountant and your brokers, meaning you can integrate some Ben admin, meaning with the accountants, you can probably outsource or connect up to your GL, right? From the resources, let's see the integrations here. They have HR integrations. Oh, so you can put in your Google Workspace in there. You can put in Zoom, Slack, all that. So I think basically with Rippling, what's kind of cool is if you got a huge tech stack, and they've and, say like oh, I got Salesforce, I've got HubSpot for one thing, and I'm hiring a marketing person. They need access to Outreach and LinkedIn Navigator and all these different things. You can actually set them all up right here on their app shop, which is pretty cool. I definitely recommend if I'm working with the client and they do have IT needs. Likely, if they haven't set up HR, they usually haven't set up IT all the way. So this is like a good way to get some of those hardware devices also in compliance. Because if you think about it now with remote work, you let somebody go today, you want to be able to quickly push a button and cut off all their access. Otherwise, what are we doing? So that's the technology. From the HR services standpoint, if you're an employer, you're going to get a service team, right? And usually you have like a quarterback, somebody that you go to for all your account management stuff. And then you'll also have different specialists. So if you need somebody to help you out with a certain integration, or you need somebody to help you out with coming up with a change to the handbook, or figuring out like, who do I contact at a 401k to handle this employee situation? Well, then yeah, you can reach out to Rippling and they'll gladly help you out. They do that through, I believe they have chat direct. You can directly reach out to them via call, or you can email them, however you like to. You can put in a case in the system. The employees also have access to their team. So a lot of times employees, they generally have questions like, hey, what happened to my W-2? I'm looking to buy a house or a car. I need access to my pay stubs. Or, hey, I'm a new employee. I don't think I set up my medical benefits. Where do I go? Usually those tactical questions, you could just go ahead and outsource that stuff to Rippling. Tell them to just call directly, and they'll generally take care of it, which is awesome. So on the employer side, you get a service team. You also get direct access to different specialists, and your employees will also get access to different specialists that make sense for their current need. Now, as far as like reporting certain like workers' comp issues or HR claims or those things against the company, uh, PEOs are going to loop you back in, or at least the administrative team back in, because they're on the hook as well, right? So you don't need to worry about that. Now, how do they price their solution? So Rippling is one of these startups that realize that, hey, a lot of PEOs that do their pricing models where it's not per employee per month or on an easy to understand sliding scale. Maybe there's percentage of payroll or different ways that they do it like that. Rippling has just made it easy. They just said, hey, this is what we do per employee per month. If you want the IT services, great. Here's X amount of dollars more per month. If you want to do the benefits admin, right, but you're not using our PEO or our plans, here's how much it costs to do the ben admin on here. So they let you pick and choose the pricing, and they're fairly transparent about it. I mean, if you go here, $8 a month, that's where they start at, right? I think that's for like the IT services. Don't quote me on that. Quote yourself on it. But generally what they do is per employee per month. They don't do a percentage of payroll in my experience. For the benefits, they can either do a carve out, or they can do an ASO model where you're not on a PEO, they're just doing payroll, HRIS, and benefits for you. Same thing on the workers' comp piece. Sometimes there's risk that doesn't make sense to take on if you're the PEO, but maybe the PEO makes sense for you from a payroll perspective, from an HR and compliance perspective, from all the tools and widgets and all those things that you just love about PEOs. It all makes sense except for that damn workers' comp policy. I can't believe all the slip, trips, and falls we had in 2021, even though there was nobody here. That could happen. So you do have the flexibility there. And lastly, how do you get, oh, I will mention this. Payroll for almost any of these PEO products is almost 9 times out of 10, I would say 99.99999% of the time, you have to do payroll. You just do. So how do you get a quote for their services? To get a quote for their services, you could reach out directly to the company, or you can work with a PEO broker. And what a PEO broker generally does is they manage the quoting process, they negotiate the best terms and pricing, they'll assist you in figuring out, what are the best actual documents to present versus not. You don't want to just throw the kitchen sink at anyone. You also want to know too, like how are these health plans really designed and structured? Because at the end of the day, that most of the folks that are looking at these the sales reps, they're not licensed and insured. So how are they going to really tell you about the plans? And they can give you an idea. So doing an HRIS and a PEO audit, it's a tall task. It takes approximately about 50 hours over the course of 65 days or so. Even if you're an expert, you've been doing this for 5+ years. It's helpful to have a great internal project manager with HR experience or payroll and insurance, procurement or buying experience. But like all good things in life, it just takes time and effort. And sometimes when we're dealing with limited resources, we just don't have those things. And if you're like me, speaking to a live human is always easier than sitting here watching these how-to videos on something that's not as straightforward as it could be, right? Because each PEO is different. They all have their own little nooks and crannies, and it's important to get it right. So look, put 15 minutes on my calendar or anyone on the team's calendar, and you can also email me directly at steve@thinq, insurance.com, steve@thinkinsurance.com. And look, hey, you deserve real answers. So on our call, we'll discuss how do you define the outcome of this project and looking at a new PEO or HRIS system. We'll talk about all the details of the tasks and the milestones you should look to accomplish. And then we'll just create a timeline based off of your industry, the best practices of other PEOs, and try to narrow down who you're looking at. And look, if it makes sense for us to work together, great. If not, that's totally okay. As long as you're getting started on this audit process and you feel sure-footed and you know exactly what you're doing, that's all I can ask. From my end, that's all our team wants is for you to be in the know, educated on how to work with PEOs, understanding how the insurance is impacted there, and taking care of your people. So, in summary, this was Rippling. They're honestly a great PEO ASO option, whether you're small starting up or you're already still slightly scaled. So, if you need help in looking at any of this stuff, feel free to reach out to me or the team, and we will talk to you later. Take care.